Are you ready for some podcast?
Welcome to the Quicksand Club podcast, the comedy podcast where we discuss every topic worth discussing one at a time. I'm Spencer Bainbridge, joined by
Bryce Allemann, and joined by
Dana Constance.
And in this episode, we're talking about sports. This episode is brought to you by Game Off.
Hi, I'm Roger. For Game Off, online sports betting nearly ruined my life. What began as a fun hobby became a dangerous compulsion, but Game Off put me back in the win column. Game Off, developed by Clean Life Games, is an app designed to help you get over your compulsion to gamble on sports. It helped me. My addiction to online sports gambling cost me nearly everything: my job, my life savings, even my family. But since I downloaded Game Off, I've been freed from the penalty box of gambling addiction. Game Off helped me replace the ritual of gambling by an assortment of innovative methods. There's games, puzzles, fascinating sports facts, many ways to get your mind off of gambling and keep you engaged. My favorite game is Ping Pong Madness. It's a digital table tennis game, and it's my new obsession. I play it for hours every day. Last week I set a personal record, and I'm hoping this week I can beat it. I bet I can. Another game is called Mindful Mouse. How much calming cheese does Mindful Mouse need before he can do his daily meditation? You have to guess. I'm getting pretty good at it. See, I've got a system. If you have a gambling relapse, use the control counter feature. It's a helpful way to keep track of your progress without shame or recrimination. How many days can you go without placing a bet? I wagered 5 to 1 that it's 7 days, 2 to 1 that it's under 12. Need a sponsor? Game Off can also connect you to other recovering gambling addicts. If I have an itch to gamble, I call my sponsor Andy and ask him how many points he thinks the Seahawks will score in the first quarter of the Super Bowl, or if he wants a parlay on the length of the national anthem. What key will they sing it in? $100 says it's an A flat. Any MVP predictions? Point spread? Come on, I need some action to feel alive. There's also the intervention facilitation module, which will help you schedule an intervention for a loved one who's struggling with gambling addiction. 500 says the kid cries. Another 300 if there's a dog. What's the over-under on the breed of the dog? Black, no, brown. Fuck it. A grand on a chocolate lab. Oh, I can smell that money already, Andy. Let's do this. Game Off by Clean Life Games, a subsidiary of Purdue Pharma.
Spencer. Did you do any organized sports when you were growing up?
Yeah, I did all the major sports up to a certain age. I did baseball and basketball and soccer and flag football. I don't think my mother would have allowed full contact football, not that I wanted to play it. Uh, but yeah, and then I kind of lost interest around the age of 13 or 14. I just got to a point where I honestly remember being like, I would rather be watching Animaniacs than go to baseball practice. And that was just kind of the
I
end of
thought
it.
you were going to say I discovered girls, or I discovered my.
You're
Let's
telling
make
me there's
this.
girls? I'm just discovering that now. Yeah, I was totally into sports. I liked to be active. I liked to go do that stuff. And then I think, coming with adolescence and also coming with the realization that I was not good at any of them, I just sort of decided to hang it up. But yes, I was a very sporty kid who turned into a non-sporty adult.
That's interesting. I played as a kid. I played 8 years of soccer. This does not make me good at soccer.
No, it didn't. I,
It's-
I played years of numerous things, and I never became good at anything. In fact, I remember playing soccer at such a young age. Do you remember playing soccer when you were a kid, and you were so little, there was no goalie? Because if someone made it into the goal, it was just sort of a miracle. It was just like watching Pac-Man. It just seemed like kind of back and forth, and kind of random.
I in high school, for my first 2 years of high school, I didn't miss a single football game because I was in marching band. So I remember I'd bring my Walkman and listen to classical music. It made the stuff happening on the field a lot more interesting.
Oh my God! So you'd be listening. Like what composers are we talking about?
Something lively, like some Bach, some toccata and fugue kind of stuff, and anything that's a little bit zippy and then the and then it just looked like a gigantic ballet. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing. You put on the 1812 overture and like time up them smashing into each other with the cannons, you know?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Bam. I remember my proudest moment was followed 2 seconds later by my most shameful moment when I was playing basketball as a kid. And I was not particularly good at any sport, but I was okay at basketball because I could run fast and I could shoot okay. One particular game, I made a strong drive right up the court, dodged the defender, and sank a nice clean 2-pointer, nothing but net, went right in. And then I realized that it was after the half, and the two teams switched sides after the half. So I had
oh,
actually scored a point for the opposite team.
oh
So
man.
there was glory and pride followed by shame and embarrassment about 2 seconds later, and that's the highlight of my sports career and the low light. And it happened in about 3 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Congratulations, Spencer. That's
thank you.
I mean that
Congratulations and
is
condolences. Yeah. But that was embarrassing because it's like I did the thing, but I'm an idiot. So it's good news, bad news, you know.
seem to remember in high school in a gym class we had like a month of playing volleyball, like indoor volleyball full, all the kids playing, not like 2-on-2, cool California volleyball, but we are playing volleyball, and I think I was just like maybe a freshman and feeling awkward, and someone spiked the ball, or at least kind of went over, and I misjudged the ball come at me, and it hit me in the man zone, and it hurt, and I went down, and the gym teacher, Mr. Duquette, and I have words from Mr. Duquette at this moment, came over and mocked me for letting the ball hit me in the man zone. Kind
Like
of
it
gave
was
me
your
the
fault.
yeah, but he's like, oh, you doing there, Kata? He kind of did the high pitched like, oh, you've been hitting the man zone. I'm gonna mock you for it, in front of everyone in the class,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, so I'm gonna hold my words for him until I'm off the mic. I still got issues with the guy.
oh, let it flow. That's all right.
Oh, fuck you, Mr. Cat.
Yes, we've got an explicit rating. That's fine. We can do whatever. When you replay that moment in your memory, does it make like a boing sound like in a baseball bloopers video?
No, it gets a oh sound. It's just oh.
So you played dodgeball at some point. Now, in scouting, which, was a very uh, male-dominated kind of thing, we had our meetings for the scout troop, and some of the meetings we got to get all the energy out of these prepubescent and pubescent kids was to say, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna play a game outside," and that was just a chance for everyone to beat the hell out of each other.
Oh, it was
Um,
cathartic for some.
yeah, yeah, and then we had something that's like dodgeball, but it was played with socks that had been wrapped up in duct tape, and
Did
then
you go
you're
to
throwing.
school in a prison? You put a battery in a pantyhose. Yeah, go on.
No, you're throwing these at each other as hard as you can, and of course the kids that are either have developed more as they get older, or they're just more sporty, or actually have muscles. They're just killing all of us that are the nerdy guys, and just trying to avoid being hit.
I remember those dodgeballs, those playground balls that had those rubber balls that had the sort of textured skin. If those hit
Mhm.
you in the face, that would leave a mark that would last for a couple of days. Like they would leave an imprint on you. It was like dinosaur skin when you got smacked with one of those things. It hurt like hell.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not cool, those things. How about Foursquare? Anyone play
Oh
Foursquare
yeah,
growing up
Oh,
played
in the
Foursquare.
regional?
I played some Foursquare. Yeah,
Fantastic game. Fantastic game.
yeah.
That needs to come back. That needs to replace pickleball as a sport du jour.
That should be an
Because
Olympic event because it's. I have a theory that the larger the ball, the more televisually pleasing the sport is.
Right.
The easier to follow. Like I can't like hockey's a fun game, but I can't watch it on TV because I can't see the puck. And but like Foursquare, so you got this giant rubber ball. It's very easy. You could have like a drone overhead. That could make a great Olympic event.
So you're not into like High for example, where this thing is being launched at 110 miles per hour.
Oh, you won't see me at the fronton. No, I'm not a high life fan. Um, and table tennis is also like kind of exciting, but also I can't see the damn ball. Like that is a big
Yeah.
problem, I think, with
Yeah.
certain sports. But a big
There
giant
was
ball is that's good for TV.
there was a time where hockey realized that problem. I think it was back in the '80s that people couldn't follow the puck, and so they came up with a technology where they made the puck glow,
Oh, the glowing
Mhm.
puck. It was like
the
a
glowing
comet.
puck, yeah, and you could
Yeah.
see, and it would leave like a trail. Like when they would shoot hard, you would see this trail. It was like an acid trip,
Yeah, and hockey
but with
purists were
Wayne
furious.
Gretzky for 8 hours, huh?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, but you can't watch the puck. You shouldn't watch the game, eh?"
Yeah.
They were very mad, and if I recall, it didn't last long. The purists were upset.
Yes, yes. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I because if you knew the sport, you didn't even have to see the puck to know where it was going. But
2001, a hockey odyssey,
yeah,
some trippy
that's
shit.
My dad was one of his relaxation things to do on Sunday was to ignore us kids and actually watch an NFL game on television.
That's just dad tradition.
Yeah, but it was very uncharacteristic. But because of that, I ended up learning the rules of football and how it's played and everything else.
Yeah.
you just did so you could get your dad's attention,
Well,
basically.
yeah, you could sit and watch with him. You can ask him a question or two, but that was his time, to be at home and watch this. And he didn't drink or anything. He would just watch the game. So
Hmm. Well, I was going to talk about how I'm not a big sports fan as an adult, but I followed sports much more keenly as a kid, partly because I guess I played them at the time, but also because it was on the TV in our house because my dad and my older brother are sports fans, and they still are. And I've sort of fallen off, but it was on the TV in our house. So naturally, it was like how my wife watches Australian reality dating shows. That is what is on my TV, and that is what I am currently thinking about.
Uh,
But at home growing up, it was sports on the TV. So, and I just associate good memories with that, but not necessarily because of the sports. It was like every Monday night during football season was Monday Night Football. But I didn't care about Monday Night Football. I cared about Monday night steak sandwiches because that's what we would have for dinner. So
there
I
you go.
associate that with delicious steak sandwiches with Thousand Island dressing.
growing up in the Boston area, I mean, the Boston Red Sox are akin to a religion there, and admittedly, there is something magical about that team. Like my dad and my grandfather took me to a Red Sox game when I was 5 years old, and I still remember it very well. Like the first time I walked, up the ramp and looked at the ball field at Fenway Park for the first time, and it was like being at a cathedral. It really, it's become so cliche, at least for those of us who really like sports writing and the way the Red Sox are written about. Fenway is cathedral, and I just like my dad, my grandfather. My grandfather died a couple of years later, but I treasured those ball games we went to, and it was just lovely days. And you could listen to the game on the radio and hang out with your parents and have the game on, and then you could play catch out in the backyard and just really, you know, it is a bonding with your family that men traditionally don't talk about feelings, and we don't do things like go see a play together and discuss the deeper meaning of what's happening on stage. But you can talk all day about you know can they win can they beat the Yankees.
Cue Doris Kearns Goodwin and the Randy Newman music because I feel like I'm in Ken Burns' PBS baseball
Yeah, yeah.
documentary now.
I am it's such stereotype, but
No,
it's
it's true.
it's my truth. It's my
Absolutely,
truth.
absolutely. There's a reason there's the movie Field of Dreams, which is designed to make men cry about their dads and baseball. That is a
It,
thing for a
it made
reason.
me cry. It still will make me cry.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
I think back to coaches I had, whether it was junior high school or soccer or whatever. I think what I needed personally, but this is a personality quirk, is I needed somebody to explain to me why we were doing this.
Not the how or the
There,
what, but the why of sports.
yeah, and it was interesting because there are kids that have a lot of natural talent and they're physical and they they just really go at it. And they're forcing us to do laps, and I'm like, what, how is this serving me? I think if somebody had just actually said, hey, if you just spent, 15 minutes a day doing X, Y, and Z with a soccer ball and getting good at this and that, then I don't know, then you're gonna get dates or just some kind of motivation that I was not getting.
Esports. I
Electronic
mean,
sport?
well, yeah, like competitive video gaming. Is that
Okay.
really considered a sport? And is this worthy of a conversation?
Oh,
Like, it's sports. It's sports because it's in the name.
I don't want to be a snob, but if you're seated the entire time, it's probably not a sport unless you're going 100 miles an hour in a race car. I'm not here to denigrate. I think esports is gaming. It's gaming on a sports scale, but it's still gaming. That would be my inexpert
well,
analysis.
But then, but Formula One, those guys are sitting the whole time as well.
But they're going fast. They're
Well, they
moving.
are going.
They're
That's true.
sitting still while moving.
And their faces going more like that.
Yeah, they're
right.
going through
There
the
is there is
Moonraker
a
thing.
much higher chance that they could die than somebody playing an esport.
Yeah, I mean, you could always have an epileptic seizure or a heart attack
That's
from all
true.
the sitting.
Well, those esport guys, they're getting paid pretty well, I have to say. At least they were. I don't know if
Yeah, so are Google engineers. Doesn't make them athletes.
Horse racing, is that a sport? I
I mean, the jockey is
the
risking
The
his
jockey,
life.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and I
yeah, it's a sport. The horses do most of the work, but humans are involved in doing things.
I finally got to go to a few horse races, and I don't know anything about the horses, and I wish the Marx Brothers were there to sell me some books, at one of their comedy routines. But you lose your money just pretty much right away, and then you have to wait like 20, 30, 40 minutes until the next race.
Enough time for a beer and a $1 hot dog.
I guess, but I I just found myself really bored.
I kind of wish that I came up in an era when boxing was one of the more popular sports because I feel like old school boxing, back when boxing mattered and everyone in the country cared about who the heavyweight champ was, that
Yeah.
seemed like it would have been an exciting era. And I don't know why or when it fell off, if it just became too corrupt or what happened to boxing.
It's there. I recently was listening to a sports related podcast, and uh, a writer brought up the fact that I think it was sometime in the early 70s or late 60s where a boxer literally died in the ring.
Hmm.
And it was sort of like a chokehold moment for boxing as a reckoning, but it didn't kill the sport right away because he still had the 70s and 80s with Mike Tyson and Sugar Ray Leonard and some of these guys, but it was like it really was one of the big sports. And but the death in the ring of a boxer sort of was the moment where it maybe started to go into decline.
But then that opened the way to these, death cage matches and mixed martial arts and things of this nature, which
UFC and all that. Yeah,
yeah.
That's true, but it's still
but they're
it's
not.
still I think a relative. I mean, it's not niche. It's very popular. But there was a time when it was like the heavyweight champ of the world was a household name. And I
Right.
feel like it's been 50 years since that was the case.
Yeah, I think
Cotton-eared
I think
Joe. Yeah.
I think Mike Tyson biting the ear off of Evander Holyfield was probably a big moment in the sport of boxing that was infamous and probably led to the continuing decline of the popularity of the sport.
I'm just gonna blame Don King. He has to have something to do with
I'm sure of it.
it.
So we've got the Winter Olympics coming up,
Yeah, we do. Are you
and
guys planning to watch?
yeah, I usually try to catch a few things, but I'm not paying attention to the schedule to be saying to myself, "Oh, I really want to see the, I don't know, downhill skiing and their special outfits that have been in the news recently or what have you." So it's more like, oh, it's on. Let's see what they're showing. Oh, they're skiing and they're shooting at stuff. Okay, great. Let's see who wins.
Yeah, I grew up watching the Olympics. My grandpa was a figure skater, so we took an interest in the Winter Olympics and also all the Olympics because there were sports fans in my house. And I still like to watch the Olympics. I really enjoyed the Summer Olympics a couple years ago, and I feel like the Olympics it's like a sporting event mixed with the Oscars because it's rare. You know, it doesn't happen that often, and it's a big deal. And it's also kind of like making friends on vacation. Like you learn all about these people and you have a lot of fun with them. And then 2 weeks after the games, I'm not going to remember who any of these people are. But we had fun, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I
I
get it.
think it's especially fun with the Winter Olympics because most of the sports in general in the U.S., no one knows anything about except for every 4 years.
You don't see curling
Right.
all year
Yeah,
round in the States. Yeah,
or bobsledding.
right.
Uh, but they're big deals in certain countries. They are rock stars, those people.
Yeah.
But then every 4 years we get really angry because we don't have the best bobsled team. What the hell is wrong with this country that we don't have the best bobsled team?
We used to be a proper country. We used to be able to bobsled and curl like nobody's
Yeah,
business.
that's right. That's right. Modern pentathlon. Why aren't we kicking ass in that?
We
Goddamn
love to walk. We
Norwegian.
love to shoot. What the hell's wrong with us?
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
there.
really enjoyed the Winter Olympics. Those are, yeah, I remember being young and was it Lake Placid with the Miracle on Ice with the hockey team?
1980.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 1980. But also Eric Heiden was like speed skating, and we like as a whole country discovered that you know guys who dress up in these unitards, these gold unitards, were great, but they only came from like Minnesota.
Not a lot of speed skaters coming out of Tucson.
No.
Yeah. I remember the big Olympiad when I was a kid was the 94 Winter Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway, because that was the Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding Olympiad.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was like the Olympics meets, I don't know,
A current
the Maury
affair.
Povich show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was the perfect television event. It was incredible.
TMZ.
I'm always fascinated by the Olympic Village, the temporary apartment building where they make all the athletes stay for a couple of months or a couple of weeks. Because here's the best looking, fittest young people in the world, and it's just like a eugenics fuckfest. Like
Right.
they're just
Well,
banging each other constantly.
yeah, nowadays they always talk about how there's free condoms
Yeah, there better
and et
be.
cetera, et cetera.
A good Olympics memory for me was watching the Dream Team, the 1992 U.S. Olympic basketball team, with my brother, because that was the first year I believe that they relaxed the rules about professionals playing
Right.
in the Olympics because it used to be only amateur athletes, and there were these
Right.
sort of Byzantine rules. And then they were like, you know what? Let's just allow the best athletes in the world, no matter whether they're professionals or not. Also, it's good for ratings, so why not? So they allowed professional athletes in the Olympics. So the U.S. and the basketball is, I think, most popular in the U.S. than anywhere else in the world, right? So we're kind of like the Canada or Russia for hockey. Like we dominate basketball because it's just most popular here. So we there was like this. The U.S. Olympic team was like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. But I could go on. It's like all stars. It was like watching the Harlem Globetrotters play a high school team, and they just steamrolled over every team on the planet. And for some reason, you think it would be boring, but it was incredible to watch. It was so exciting.
I saw a story recently about cycling, professional cycling, and again, cycling is another sport that I kind of wrap my head around that I like because I like to ride bikes. But the Tour de France, they're talking about how it's one of the last of the democratic sports because if you ever watch the Tour de France or these big professional bike races, people can just show up and stand
Oh,
by the side of the road. They're about. It seems like the price of the running the sport has gotten so much now. They're talking about changing that to charge tickets to people. Like these guys, they ride
it's
100
on the
miles.
street.
Yes,
Well, well, so let's think about this for a moment. Are there any free sports? I mean, I could go to any junior high school around here on the weekend and watch some AYSO soccer teams of teenagers playing, but what are free sports that are available to everyone?
I don't know, but since you mentioned that, as a as a childless adult, going to a youth sports event and just watching for fun seems like I wouldn't be welcomed. I feel like I would
Yes.
be met with suspicion. Like, why is this guy here? No, I just love to watch girls play volleyball, bro. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I was looking for something to do on a Friday night.
That's
Go on, please play.
right.
No, that's a good question, and I can't think of what that would be. Honestly, I mean, these things are usually staged for the purposes of someone making money. I mean, it's expensive. You gotta have a venue. You gotta have staff. It's expensive to put on, so you got to charge people to come watch you. It's like theater. Even if you're not making a profit, you got to at least dig yourself out of the hole. Charge people
Right.
to come watch.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. You know, because we get advertised at so much anyway. And at these sporting events, we're paying, if you're going to the Super Bowl, what'd you say, Dana? Like $8,000 for the cheapest possible seat?
Something like close to it. Yeah. Almost
Yeah.
7,000. Yeah.
You're still going to be advertised at the whole time.
How about marathon running?
Oh yeah. Why
Marathon is
not?
much
That's
like the
true.
Tour de France. You can stand there for 4 hours in the middle of New York or Boston, and you can just watch people run.
I feel like the only free sport is watching people get into a fight on the street, and you can't really predict when that will happen. It's not scheduled. You just got to hang out inside of a bar
Well, you
on a
just
You
have
got to
to,
Friday night.
be,
yeah,
and you got to be quick to bet if you're going to bet.
Oh yeah, you got to lay your money down real quick.
Yeah.
it's usually 2 a.m. You're gonna have to figure that one out.
Yeah, $20,
yeah.
$20 on striped shirt. He's gonna beat no shirt.
Sorry to get back to marathons. There was, you might be too young to remember. Maybe Bryce remembers, but the Boston Marathon is a big deal. And there was one year in the late 70s, I'm going to say 1979, where someone cheated and won. A woman cheated.
How'd
And
she cheat?
how did she cheat?
She was running the marathon and she realized that she was not going to win. She was tired. She was ready to give up. So she gave up, walked off the course, jumped on a subway train, a T, and headed towards the finish line just to see the end. And she got out. And then when she got off the train out of the station, she felt better. And she says, "Oh, I'm just gonna jump in and finish it," not realizing she was now the lead.
Oh
And
no.
no one paid attention. This was before they had the tracking technology. She came out and like people like, "Oh, look, here she is." What was her name? Rosie Ruiz. And she ran and she won and she didn't not admit to it. This woman became like quite a pariah. I mean, she is of infamy and caused the marathon world to quickly change their rules. But only in Boston, I think, where that story.
And the rule is you actually have to run the whole race.
The
Yeah,
rule
before
is
that wasn't a rule. That's when they thought of that.
Yeah.
I think it's high time we made a rule against riding on a train for a portion of the marathon. That's long overdue.
I thought that was an advancement in the sport. It made it much shorter. It's great.
So do either of you have fantasies of if you could be awarded great skill at a sport without trying, um, that you'd want to be somebody very famous at that sport?
I don't know if you consider it a sport, but I always thought it would be cool to be the best in the world at pool, and then
Ooh,
I could pretend to be Paul Newman in The Color of Money.
yeah.
Like that would be very satisfying for me. That would be very fun. It's a sport. It's a sport you can play while you're drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette. What else? What else do you need?
But back to I really would have just been loved to have been able to slam dunk the ball and not even be
Think
the
about
best
it.
at it. But
Yeah.
I was I could soar up on the ball and at my peak I could grab the rim, but I could never get over and slam dunk it. And that was like a line of demarcation between the basketball players. If you could dunk, you were a whole different level of you could date a whole different level of girl.
Yeah, I always thought the pole vault looked super awesome. Stacy Dragila was a gold medal pole vaulter who went to my high school, and so she's probably our proudest alumni. Is Stacy Dragila, the gold medalist pole vaulter. So I always thought pole vaulting would be like that's like as close as athletes come to like a superpower, right? That's
Right.
as close as you can be to like being like Spider-Man and be a normal person. That seemed pretty cool. I'd love to have that ability.
This conversation reminded me of the last Olympics with the high jump. Do you remember the high jumper? Was he French? that lost the gold medal because his dong hit the high bar and knocked
Oh,
him
that's
over.
right.
My dong, it is too big. What can I say?
I was like, I mean, he lost the gold medal, but I think in the end he won. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he won the Olympics, even though he did not win the gold medal. I mean,
I'm
it's like,
Googling it right now. His name was Pepe Le Pew.
but
What can I do?
I have a friend who you might listen to this podcast, but he in high school did the high jump there, and after that happened, he was quite angry about it. Like, that happens, man. That really happens. I'm like, well, congratulations, because I guess it happened to him in high school. He lost some event because his dong knocked over the bar. I was like, good for you.
Oh wait! It happened to me too. Come to think of it, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I lost at the high jump.
I don't do that sport, but I have trouble walking down the street. I'm constantly tripping.
It's just constant.
I've been trying to quit football, and it's hard to when you grow up with the sport that you love, and then you find the sport is just full of dickish behavior, and I just wanted to walk away from it. But when your team's good, it pulls you back in because you grew up with it. So
one thing that's changed about football coverage that I've noticed is that 25 years ago, they used to celebrate tackles a lot more, where it would be like someone would get sacked really hard and there'd be a graphic on Fox. It would be like, he got jacked. And now the announcers are like, ooh, that doesn't look good.
yeah.
Like the attitudes have changed. This is about how brutal that game is.
Oh, they used to every year they would have like NFL films. They would put out videos. They would sell as like the greatest hits of like 1985, and it'd just be
People flying over backwards, getting a
and just like
compound fracture.
I mean, broken necks there were. The more the more concussions there were in the video, the bigger the sales. That was the selling point of the sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's changed over time, but it's still,
it's still a part of it, but not a part they self-consciously emphasize because they know that's a bad look.
Yeah, and hockey is the same way too. It used to be about like fighting. I thought hockey was great because guys would just be like, "Hey, let's have a fist fight in the middle of the game."
It's Canadians.
Yeah, but that was great. That was great because in hockey it was like it wasn't about cheap shots. You would just sit there. Hey, you want to fight? All right, we're gonna fight, and then you'd have to go sit in the box for 2 minutes, and then you come back in the game. Versus other sports where you couldn't have that outlet to just fight the guy, then you would get cheap shots. Like you would try to hurt them.
Hey, I think they should take the Union Jack off the flag. Hey, man, you should go fuck yourself, and they'd fight. Yeah.
And that's our sports show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Spencer Bainbridge. I was joined by
Bryce Allemann.
Dana Constance. Go Pats!
And this episode also featured George Durando. We'd love to hear from you. Email us, quicksandclub@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of the show or suggest an episode topic. This has been Quicksand Club, uplifting comedy for a slowly sinking world.
Hey, I think Manitoba's better. I think Saskatoon is better. Let's fight. Boom.